software monitoring capabilities, taking capabilities like our application performance management and monitoring, our net collaborational insights. All of those have been announced on the cloud as well. So the consistency of your environment, if Tivoli was what you were using on premise and now you want to use it in the cloud, you have that flexibility as well.
Moving in a hybrid cloud environment. So we use it as a proving ground to continue to offer our capabilities, not just to vCloud Air, but to the rest of our vCloud Air network partners. So we continue to own it, we continue to operate it, and that is our strategy going forward with a very narrow use case of on-premise customers going to the public cloud. But we don't have the global footprint, to your point, right? We don't have 40 data centers around the world. It is a capital-intensive business, and this is why the partnership with IBM makes such great sense for us to leverage their platform around the world, their fiber network, and run our entire software stack on top of it. But we're going to continue to operate our vCloud Air product, and our vCloud Air network customer partners will actually leverage the software capabilities we develop on it. So if you look at the stack that we've announced, it includes the NSX platform, SDS, software-defined storage, vSAN, and the entire vCloud suite and our vSphere platform. So that is all being integrated, and actually IBM has a tremendous amount of experience already. NSX, for example, is something they've been offering networking capabilities on their cloud and secure, tunnels around, how they're running their business today with the NSX platform. So that's all together, and they're working on making it a seamless upgrade that they can do on top of their cloud for their clients, so that when these upgrades come out across the different products we had, they'll take care of that and offer that. So it's not exclusive, as both Robert and I said. We have pretty large ecosystems with two rather large technology companies, and I think it's important that we maintain large ecosystems because we're trying to bring value to our clients. And not all clients are VMware, and not all clients are IBM, so we have to have open ecosystems, both of us. So I think going forward, you'll see both of us have multiple partnerships in the cloud space, like many that were announced today. At the same time, we, by nature of having over 2,000, 3,000 partners as part of our vCloud Air network program, we, by nature, are not exclusive with anyone. We have 3,000 partners around the world who offer cloud services based on a VMware software stack. I think so far, right, what we've seen with this partnership, they're the first real partner who's gone all in with the software-defined data center stack, rolling it out on a bare metal service, and have built the tools and capabilities around it, like the Cloud Builder platform they announced. That's the first we've seen of its kind, which is why we're leaning into this partnership so heavily.
You need a certain amount of size to get scale. And once you're at scale, doubling the size when you're at scale doesn't really bring you anything, doesn't bring you the economics. And we believe we're at scale. So we have built a world-class, scalable set of capabilities for the cloud. Okay, that's our software capability. We still sell software into startups. Alpha Motor is a great example. Okay, that's important because I wouldn't consider them to be an enterprise. I would consider them to be outside of what was the enterprise norm that I would have gone after years ago. But they're really important because I understand what they're trying to do and how they're trying to build their next generation systems. That capability then I can bring back to the cloud. Because size, when you get to the cloud, whether you're an enterprise or a startup, you know what? It doesn't mean that as much as it used to. It used to mean a lot because I had to have scale. Well, now the cloud is providing the scale. So the startup like Alpha Modus or the 200-year-old or however old Siemens is startup, we're all trying to do the same thing. So we want that capability. But it's about bringing value in all the services, like what we're doing with Cognitive, like our announcement with blockchain as a service. We're the first ones to put blockchain as a service onto the cloud. So we're focused in on value. I don't need to be as big as Amazon in the infrastructure game. What I do want to do is bring value to the client, and that's what we're focused in on. So, it was still important to have scale. You have to have global scale. If you don't have global scale, you can't pass the economics to the client. By the way, if you don't have global scale, you can't deal with things like regulations around data placement that's going on in a lot of countries around the world. So from that aspect, we're scaling. I don't necessarily need to say, well, you know what, they've got X amount of dollars and I've got Y amount of dollars. I don't believe that that's where the value is. We're moving up the value chain, and that's always been where IBM has been focused in on. If you look, we'll bring value, we bring unique things like Watson and capabilities that got their requirements. Well, typically, with the enterprise hybrid, this notion of I'm just going to take all my applications or all my data and I'm going to move it and plunk it somewhere else. For some applications, that's okay. For a lot of enterprise applications that have sensitivity around data, or there is already systems that have been built, I don't want to just recreate the system or rewrite the system. So whenever it has a hybrid notion, we tend to do very, very well. And I like to say, it's not a race for size, it's a race for value. So I'm not racing to be bigger than Amazon, I'm racing to have more value than Amazon. And when you think about the value for clients in a hybrid environment, where 80% of the enterprise clients, according to IDC, are going hybrid, that's where I see the market opportunity. And that's why a partnership with VMware was just a natural as we move to this hybrid. As I talk to clients, I've talked to no client in 6 months that says, I'm moving everything to the cloud, or any client that says, I'm moving nothing to the cloud. It's all, well, I'm moving 20% or 80%, but guess what? The challenges and the problems that we're helping clients solve are all the same. So if there's a hybrid nature of it, clients are trying to connect the data, or they want to have the data reside in country, so therefore my global backbone, my global set of data centers plays very, very well with clients. And if you've seen some of the announcements that we made, we're getting both current IBM clients and we're also getting new clients. So Every is a great one. They have a large market share and host a lot of applications in Norway. They're moving off their infrastructure and moving on to the IBM cloud infrastructure because we can give them that scale that they need. And scale is very, very important because guess what? The cost will continue to go down, and that's what clients are looking for. They're looking for also the economics of the cloud, and they're looking for the ability to do things that they couldn't do before. And when you think about the cloud and the availability of data, that not only the data I have in my own data center, but the data that's now available out on the cloud. Think of Twitter, think of Weather Channel data. Now, the more data I have, the better I can do analytics, the better I can do cognitive, and the more value that I can have. And you're starting to see these kind of very, very unique set of capabilities coming from people like Alpha Modus, coming from Siemens. That's what we're trying to enable. Okay, and to us, that means the cloud is not a destination. Like I said on stage, it's not a destination, it really is an innovation platform, and that's what we're trying to do, because that's where we think we bring the most value to clients, where they can really decide what it is their business process or business model needs to do. We collaborated with Apple. That's something we do a lot. We do open source a lot. We know how to build communities, and certainly we collaborated with Apple to make that happen. We thought that was a very good thing. We're making contributions, and we saw an opportunity to contribute on the cloud side or the back-end side, and that's what we announced today. You heard up on stage some of the things that we're doing. So we look at this as a way to accelerate the adoption, again, and combining mobile and cloud. Mobile is driving a lot of the innovation and a lot of the new applications, so it made sense to allow the programmer to program both on the front end and the back end out into the cloud. So we'll continue to work very closely with Apple and Swift.org. You saw we put up a sandbox very, very quickly when we announced it, and we'll continue to collaborate and bring new technologies out to the market. We'll see which ones really work with the programmers and which ones need enhancement, and we'll continue to work. So, the Apple partnership's been great, I think, for both firms. And the Swift one is really to help the developer. And there's 11 million developers out there building iOS applications who now can connect to the cloud. That, I think, is going to spur innovation. And that's what we all want. Blockchain is still very early. It's one of those technologies that are very hot. There's a lot of people looking at blockchain and seeing how it applies. That whole kind of ledger technology obviously could have a major impact on the financial services industry being one. But we believe that technology can apply to supply chain. There's all business processes that you passing information, ledger, you're trying to coordinate and everything else. We think that technology could apply to multiple different spaces. And we want to make it easy for programmers and for companies to start to play around to see what the possibilities are. I think it's very, very early. We were the first one to put up a service on the cloud. And when we put a service on the cloud, we're trying to make it easy for everyone to get access to the technology without making a major investment. It's similar to what we did with Watson and Cognitive, and made Cognitive available to the masses. We're now making blockchain available to the masses. And there'll be people that come up with new and unique ways of using the technology. And we think that's really important to allow innovation. And that's why when you think about putting things on the cloud, I view the cloud as an innovation platform. Because all of a sudden now, you know, I'm a small company and I can start to utilize the capability like Prashad and the team did at Alpha Modus with Cognitive. And, you know, maybe there's a company out there that next week's going to come up with a great idea on how to use blockchain for a particular industry or a particular business process.